Welcome. In this video, we are going to break down the Viewport navigation tools in 3ds Max. So, let's get started. For an effective demonstration of the Viewport navigation tools, we should have an object in the scene, right? Well, let's create a primitive object. Choose the teapot geometry, click and drag to create a teapot. So, starting with the zoom tool, with the magnifier glass icon, as its name indicates, it allows you to zoom in and out in the 3D space. You can also scroll your middle mouse button to do the same thing. However, this type of zoom is incremental and may not give you full control over the way you zoom in or out on your object. Why? Simply because when you zoom in or out with the middle mouse scrolling method, you may overshoot or not be able to zoom close enough to your object. A better way would be to hold down the Control plus the Alt plus the middle mouse button and drag in and out. This will allow you to zoom in and out very smoothly. Notice a green little sphere appears wherever you click and drag. This is actually the point on which you zoom in and out. The zoom is technically a dolly. The camera is moving forward and backward. It is not actually a zoom. A zoom is changing the focal length optically and the camera remaining in the same place. So, this is a bit misnomer. Next is the zoom all. It is similar to the zoom tool, but the zoom happens in all the viewports at the same time. The zoom extent selected will allow you to frame a selected object within your active window. Keyboard shortcut for that is Z. Right click on a viewport and then hit Z. Let's do this again. Hit Z. Click on Z command. However, if nothing is selected, then you are going to frame all objects in your scene at once into one frame. Let me show you. I will deselect the teapot and hit the Z keyboard shortcut. See that? I will do this again in the front view with everything deselected. Click on the Z hotkey and boom. You now have the teapot and every other object. If you have any other objects in your scene, they will all be framed all in the same view and the same frame. The zoom extent all is very similar to the normal zoom extent, except that it frames on all of the viewports at the same time. The zoom region gives you the ability to zoom in on a specific region. Let me select the zoom region command or tool, and let's try this out. With the zoom region tool selected, draw a rectangle where you want to zoom, and boom. Let's do this again. Draw a rectangle and voila. Okay, hit the Z key to frame the teapot. Now, the tool with the hand icon is called the pan view. You can use it to slide your view side by side or up and down or in any direction you prefer. A faster way to access this tool is by holding your middle mouse button and drag your view in any desired direction. To constrain the movement in one direction, hold down the middle mouse button and the shift keys together to move either vertically or horizontally. Actually, this is not a pan. Pan is a panorama in which the camera remains positioned in one location and rotates left or right in order to take in different parts of the scene. So this is actually tracking left to right and pedestal up and down in any of the views. Next is the icon with the planet, a little planet with an orbit around it. This is the orbit tool, or tumble as may be referred to in other software. It is very handy tool that allows you to rotate around your objects. The middle portion of the screen of the circle allows you to orbit in all directions, whereas the border of the circle constrains the rotation to one direction over the other. To get rid of the circle, you can right-click anywhere to exit the tool. By the way, the right-click action is a very convenient way to exit from any selected tool. Let's try this out and click on the right mouse button to exit the tool. Now, a word of caution though, clicking and dragging outside the circle border may give you what's known as a canted angle, also known as the Dutch tilt. You only want a canted angle intentionally, not accidentally. To fix this, simply hit the Ctrl Alt H to go home and set the view to its default orientation. Now click on the right mouse button to exit the tool. An easier way to use the orbit tool is by holding down the Alt and the middle mouse button together and drag to orbit around the viewport. The Shift key can also be added to constrain the rotation in one direction, either left to right or up and down. Now, something very important about the orbit tool you have to be aware of, and that's when rotating. Okay, quick question. Are you rotating around an object or the grid or what? Well, that's a very good question to ask. In fact, the orbit tool gives you the options to select around what to rotate. The orbit tool is actually a flyout menu. We know that by the small triangle at the corner. Click and hold on the icon. Different nested options will show up. The most important option is going to be orbit around sub-object, which is the third option from the top. Select it, and when rotating, this will allow you to orbit around any selected object or a specific component of that object, which is the best way to utilize this tool in our case. At the end, you have the Maximize Viewport toggle tool, which, as its name indicates, maximize the active viewport. Click on it to either minimize or maximize the viewport. Now, the keyboard shortcut for that is Alt-W. Hover your mouse over the desired viewport and hit the Alt-W. In a nutshell, you have seen how to zoom in and out in a single viewport or in all of the viewports. You have seen how to frame your object in a single viewport, how to frame your objects around all of the viewports, how to perform the zoom region command, panning around the viewport, orbiting around your objects, and maximizing your viewport. So that's it for this lesson. See you in the next one.